republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments from the assembly? Okay, we'll start with, you have your correspondence in front of you. New business, or business, skate park proposal presentation.
Can we do it from back here?
Yeah, where would you like us to stand?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I didn't quite bring enough copies, I didn't know how many. So the background on this is we represent a team on the Parks and Rec for Ellerson, not Morgantown. But it is our understanding that Morgantown was perhaps considering or interested in developing a skate park and was therefore interested in any background or preparatory material that we had. And so we're here really just to share it. We're not here to make a presentation. We're not here to make a proposal. We are here to share with you some of the work we have done because in the process of some of our prep, we have talked with Chief of Police, Township Borough Managers for their experience with skate parks in their particular towns. This would include Pottstown, Denver, Reamstown. So that's what we're here for, and we don't need to take any more of your time unless you would like us to.
Did you have anything to add?
Yeah, so they've been helping me with the skate park. We were trying to get in the community, and we started with Elverson because I live in Elverson. But after a couple meetings, I didn't know how interested they were, and then they helped me get a lot of information, interviews with Chief of Police of Denver. We have another interview with Denver Manager Parks and Rec, and we have maintenance costs, we have designs, we have builders, we even have some funding. So I think, you know, I kind of want to see how interested Morgantown would be in putting a skate park in, and then I heard you guys were interested, so that's kind of how this started. So.
Well, we've actually been talking about this for several years, probably.
Since before COVID started.
Yeah, that's good.
And I know that myself and Mr. Vickers, we also have some connection with people in Westchester. I know Bam Margera.
Yeah.
He designed the one there in Westchester.
Yeah.
So we had talked about trying to get some ideas. So we just never really had the budget for it. So things are looking up and up here in the town. So I mean, it's something that we can definitely look into even further, because I know we did discuss it.
Yeah. And a little background of me, I've been skateboarding for 12 to 15 years, and I do skateboard ministry in Westchester, the Providence Church there, and I went to Westchester University and been skateboarding. I do camps in Ocean City, Outer Banks, all skate camps. So I'm a big skateboarder. I think it's a great avenue for kids to, you know, go outside and have fun and learn something. And I brought some friends of mine, brothers who are skateboarders or in support of it. And yeah, so any more questions? I mean, you know, and these two ladies back here know a lot about it too. So if you have, you know, any
I
questions?
only have one question.
Okay.
Liability, somebody gets hurt in that park, where does that fall?
Our understanding of that is that it is certainly appropriate that are you a township or city?
Township.
The township would have a liability clause. When we priced that, if it were done in Elverson, it was $250 a year.
Okay.
And it is a skate at your own risk, and the sign states that very clearly.
Thank you.
Now, for construction of this, I mean, is this the company that you would contact on this literature here?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
these
that's
local
Armet
companies?
Concrete. Yep, Armet Concrete is a friend of mine. His name's Matt. He's built parks, Denver Skate Park, Reamstown Skate Park, which is a new one. He's working on a Carlisle Skate Park, Steelton in Harrisburg. He's done a variety of different parks. So he's, you know, that's his specialty.
So we had, when we originally discussed this a few years back, we discussed the skate, bike, and a dog park
Yeah.
combination.
Mhm.
he also can design all that also?
I would have to check on that. So I knew you guys were thinking about that, and I have to figure out the best way to go about that. We might have to hire someone else to do those things, but I'm willing to, work on that. And then with that, fundraising is probably going to be, it's going to hit a larger target market because people want a dog park so that's something I definitely could consider and, work for.
Because I think,
Well, I think we can all agree that the workshop meeting is probably the best time to discuss stuff like this than
Yes.
our regular meeting, but, I mean, do you wanna, pick up the end of January? Cause maybe talk to your friend and see what he can do, and maybe have him get back on the agenda and come up here and maybe talk to us.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
One thing that would help that conversation is when you say bike park, what do you mean?
We have no idea, I know for the longest time, we have 3 parks in our town that cater to younger children.
Yes.
We want something that caters to the middle school and high school age students, so I don't even, if there's just, for bike ramps too, on top of this, if it's a separate part of the same park,
I recommend
Yeah,
separate.
Yeah.
The reason we ask is that we're familiar with what's called a pump track. There's a small pump track that's part of this particular proposal, but a full pump track is much more extensive. There actually is the link for the video is,
Well, yeah, but they have the printed version.
they could type
You
it
could
on
type
there.
it.
it's on here.
There's some information about pump tracks if that's what you're looking for. I have also seen I wouldn't call them a track, but a bike setup that was actually as much for teaching, but it was more for young children. You're aiming for something slightly older, so I don't think you're talking about the one that I have seen, which almost, it was a place for them to bike safely, but it actually combined with it road safety. There were road signs on it, they could practice staying in their lane, they could practice stop signs and pedestrian crossings and all of that kind of thing. But that really is for much younger children, so I'm thinking that maybe when you say, but that's what we wanted clarification for, when you say a bike track, what you're looking at is what's called a pump track.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what we just know when we got an original request, it had included all that, I think.
Yeah, like I said, I'm thinking more along the lines of middle school, high school age students, so I'm open to ideas, so.
Yeah.
There are 2 short videos, links in the document that you have.
Which I can email
They're
if
not
somebody
link
has them.
links, but one of them is the small one at Reamstown, which is along the lines of what's in this proposal. The other one is just a snippet, believe me, it's nowhere near the whole track, but it's a snippet of what a larger pump track would include, and that one would give you a sense that, it actually is for younger, right up through older.
And like I said, we have 3 parks with playground equipment on that I think cater to the younger kids. I want something more for, that's how I feel, I don't know.
I
how you guys
Yeah.
feel.
Well,
I'll-
you have to call fault.
I'll say something real quick. So, this park originally designed for Ellerson, it's a smaller town, we all know that. So, my thoughts were, if Morgantown's interested, we can expand the idea. And it looks like we're already talking about that with the bike park and the dog park. So, what she was saying too is there is a little section here for bikes or scooters or skateboards. This is like a pump track, it's like half of a pump track. People kind of pump through bikes, it's, that's what BMXers do. But I guess I could propose to you that I would expand on this graphic here and make a separate pump track along the side of the skate park so that bikers could go over there and use that pump track more. And then if you are interested in bike ramps, I could see what I could do on that, even if we made, I don't know, something for bikers. They can use the skate park, but this isn't a very big skate park, so I would have to expand some things like space and whatnot. But
Well, I think we need ideas that we can kind of agree on than price.
Yeah.
That's probably what we definitely need to do.
yeah,
I know the area that we were looking at was up by the Highcroft. We have the baseball field up there that's been pretty much sitting empty for
Yeah.
how many years now?
Several.
Yeah, and if nobody's gonna use it, we're gonna put it in, something
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
that people
it's
will
good.
use. That's kind of what
Yeah.
our thought was, like I said, 3 years ago that we probably brought this idea up.
yeah, I would love to use that space and
Can I ask 2 things? First of all,
could we have the square footage of the space that you're looking at, because you're gonna need that in order to come up with a
The further
proposal.
designs, yeah.
And secondly, we're not really well versed in putting in a dog park, so I'm sure hoping somebody
Yeah, I mean,
else
we're,
would help us.
I don't even know
I mean,
where,
I
to-
think
I mean,
that's just
we're just
something
talking like
off
a
to the
fenced
side.
in area off to the side that
Yeah.
people
Where
can go take
parents-
their
I
dogs.
actually
Whatever,
imagine it's
you know.
probably not too difficult to do. I would probably, I imagine it's just some simple objects that people can go in a fence.
Well, we currently have people taking their dogs and take them into the playgrounds with the play equipment,
Yeah.
and they don't clean up after them in the mulch.
It's
And
gross,
we
yeah.
don't really want that,
Right.
but I understand they want a place to go where it's fenced in, their dog can
Yeah.
run, I get that,
So basically, any extra land we have, if we could fence it in, and have the parents over their dogs or whatever,
Yeah.
but
So-
something to create family time, or at least they're in the same area, or.
Yeah. So the question is, I guess, going about fundraising, I guess the first thing is, does Morgantown have any money to match fundraising? Like, if I raise enough money, for the skate park, would they match the price for the dog or
Well,
bike
let's
park?
come up with an idea and
Yeah.
look at some prices first before we
Then,
can sit and
yes,
talk about that.
But I
But
mean,
yeah,
I
mean,
don't
we
think
can
we're looking
definitely-
for how do you do all the fundraising,
Yeah.
I mean,
we
there
don't
may
put
be
anything
grants that we
into
can
it.
apply for as well, but I mean, I think we need to get the idea kind of locked in so we know
Where
what it's
we're
even
at.
gonna cost.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I bring that up, because Elverson didn't really have any money to give, so I was planning on just raising it all ourselves, with Lisa and Diane, but if you guys do have some money, that would be, amazing, and then also for the dog and bike park, that's gonna cost extra, obviously, but,
Right.
Well, see how municipalities kind of work is, once you reach a certain dollar amount, we have to take that out for bid, okay, when
Okay.
it comes to work.
Yeah.
So, I don't even know what something like this would cost to even say, hey, this is what we have. Let's go back and forth here. You have Joan's contact information, I assume?
not yet, but I'm sure I'll get it after this meeting,
The best
yeah.
bet for any of you is to go through our office, and then she can make sure that all of us are updated and up to speed.
Yeah, so, you guys didn't have time to look at this yet, but in here, there is a cost estimate for this skate park itself. It's $63,000, and it's in here somewhere. Should put
It
page
follows
numbers.
the question.
Fourth page in the back.
Is this made out of material that don't need a lot of maintenance to it?
Yeah, so, do you wanna answer that?
Yeah, I can.
We did a lot of research on that as well.
So, because this design that Matt Arment uses is cement with rebar frame around it, what the experience of Denver and Reamstown, well, Reamstown's too short to have a whole lot of experience on that, but it's similar to verbal feedback we got from Pottstown. And so basically, it's every 2 or 3 years, and this is in the material, it's, I don't know, page 10 maybe.
Yeah, it's all,
2 or 3 years, you paint the edges, so that you can see the edges.
the edges,
safety
so
marks.
you don't run off
So you
it.
don't run off the edges, and every 5 years you reseal it. The paint, depends on whether or not you have your volunteers do the paint, and then you're only buying the paint. And that was, 200 to 300, every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's
It was 150 to 200.
150 to
150 to 200
We were gonna budget
every 2 to 3
$50
years.
a year.
And the resealing, as of now, of course, with inflation being what it is, who knows what it'll be 5 years from now, can be around 800, but if there's a little patching that has to get done, we put a range of 800 to 1,000 in case there was some patching for chips or widening seams that might have to be done periodically.
Yeah.
But the feedback from Pottstown, Denver and Reamstown in a combined way, because they're in the same township, is that it's really, if you had 4,000 every 5 years, you would be gold,
More than enough, yeah.
in that whole thing. And if you set up a fund and you put a little bit aside every time, you're really talking a small amount every year. The insurance will depend very much on your own. You may not need more, who knows, you have to talk to your agents about that. But we had told you about ours is, and we're a lot smaller, which also may affect the dollar amount, is the size.
Now, when you're
That's
talking
better.
maintenance, is that the company that installs these has like a maintenance program and they come out and do it? Or
Yeah,
is it
so-
something that our department has to do?
Yeah, so, we actually have, another, organization we're working with called CASA, it's Cocalico Alternative Sports Association, and they get a group of skateboarders, They're usually kids that are on the team, I guess, or off with their organization, and they'll go around and fix up parks that they take care of. And her name's Tara. She's been helping us with the park and getting contacts as well. And then, so to answer that question, usually we would just hire Matt Arment again to have him come out and reseal or just patch up something that needs patched up. But you're not gonna have any issues with the concrete for probably won't have many issues at all. It'll probably be maybe 10 years down the road where you might need to patch some things. You know, that's that. With the paint, you're gonna do that more often, just for safety, and it looks nicer. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's volunteers or your maintenance team.
Yeah.
Does the school have any programs for like skateboarding?
Not yet, but if we put the skate park in, I'm sure there could be skateboard club or whatever, and since it's so close, yeah, that's something I'm sure would probably come up.
Yeah,
Can I ask a
get us some
question?
more information.
Did Elverson not do this because of the money?
Well,
No.
we just started. So we just started conversation.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're talking a much larger one, then we only have a tennis court sized place to put it.
Yeah.
So we were staying very small in that process. The other difference that we have that you don't face is we don't have a police department. So we rely on the state police. And so there's been some discussions with them about how would you patrol, how would you, manage all that. So, but we're still really in the very beginning.
Yeah.
We haven't asked for approval yet.
Yeah.
Even.
So that's kind of where we're at. It's like whatever township really is interested is kind of where we would probably head.
And by the way, Chief Kepley of Calico, his comments are in there too.
Yeah, I would highly
So-
recommend reading that as well.
So you could look through that. You may in particular be interested in
Yeah.
looking through what he had to say.
Yeah, definitely.
And we've discussed this when the idea was brought up 3 years ago, obviously about loitering and having issues with vandalism and
Yeah,
whatnot.
we
And
talked.
all the feedback we have so far from the ones in the area, that's not been their issue. Yes, there's been occasional problems, mostly kids hanging out too late at night when it closes at dusk.
But at least we know where the kids are gonna be.
Exactly. That's why most skate parks have patrolling, actually.
Right.
They'll have a
And
cop
that's what we
drive
talked
by.
about, so
West
we-
Goshen,
we thought that
Pottstown,
through.
Reamstown, Denver, and as you'll see with the chief of police of Cocalico, very supportive of the whole idea, not really significant.
I mean, I think this is absolutely great. For
Yeah,
you
great.
guys to come before us, I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we want from you guys.
Yeah.
We can come up with our own ideas, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna fit what you guys want,
Yeah.
so, work with us,
We will,
give us some
yeah.
different ideas, I mean, don't, keep her updated so she
Yeah.
can keep us updated, cause I'm definitely interested and,
Yeah.
let's see what we can do.
So
Yeah.
our workshops are the last Wednesday, second to the last, right? Second and
So our
fourth.
meetings are the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month, so.
Tuesday.
Starting January, it's gonna be Wednesday.
Yeah, right, starting
Yes.
January.
So the
first.
fourth Wednesday of the
Okay.
month would be the best time to talk to Joan and get on the agenda, that you can come back and show us what you got, and then, maybe we can come up with something, that'll give us some time to kind of read through this literature you gave
Yeah.
us tonight.
So
and,
it'll be January till we can meet again, because we won't have one in December.
Okay. January.
Okay.
That gives you time to get stuff, and it's over the winter months, and maybe we can come up with something.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us.
There's a,
Yep.
There's a dog park in Exeter,
Okay.
right off of 345, I don't know if you know where that is.
Not my first, bro.
Birdsburg, going
Okay.
out of Birdsburg towards 422,
Mhm.
it's on the right across from the big landfill,
Mhm.
so if you
Oh, I
walk,
see. Okay.
you can stop out there and take
Yeah.
a look at it and see what they have.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
I think that part is actually pretty simple.
It's a very simple, you used to use it.
It's the fencing, it's the obstacles, and then.
But feel free to go up there to Highcroft and see where the ball diamond is, you can get an idea of what.
Yeah, I
kind
think
of-
we probably will. So.
I mean, I can't tell you what the square footage is. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Sorry, new technology.
There's always our website too.
Where you're at.
Or info, even internet, work, but.
All right. Well,
That's a
thank
big
you
area.
guys.
It's from like
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay. St. Thomas Church request, permission to access park grounds for tree removal.
Okay, looks like it's here.
Hi, I'm Stan Stromaker, Junior Ward in St. Thomas. As you're probably aware, there has been a line of huge trees along the fence line. A couple years ago, we had one come down, fell onto the church property, or the baseball property. We paid to have the entire tree removed ourselves. We had, a year or so later, there was another tree we noticed was starting to die. We took that tree down. Somebody from the ball club came to us this summer or early fall and pointed out that there was some dead growth on the next tree in line. So we've been looking into taking not only that tree down, but the 4 big trees in a row there, because it seems like every time we take one down, a year or two later, something else is going on. And I don't know what's going on, but it seems like it's going down the fence line. We do know there's groundhogs over there. We've been trying to trap them and get rid of them. So far, I have no luck with that. But the trees are very big, very old, and they're needing to come down. I've talked to several contractors. I'm getting bids to go in and have the trees taken down. And they've all said that they would like to be able to get onto the ball field property, not on the ball field itself, to get equipment in there to work on the trees. Can't readily do that on the cemetery side because of all the graves and the stones that exist there. So we would like to ask for permission to get some equipment in there so that we can take the trees down in the future.
Yeah, I think we talked about this prior to our meeting here a little bit. You would probably have to get access through behind the stage there. I think that'd probably be your best bet, when you think, to get equipment in there, Keith.
Yeah, that's the way they're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Actually, believe it or not, when we took the first tree down, they took the tree off the building. They went right in there between the dugout and the diamond with a huge crane.
And that's the AA's property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can get you the contact information for, it's Kim Reiner.
I thought the ball field was the township property.
We own the Clyde Smith Field in the
Yeah.
back, the lighted one, but we don't. St. Thomas Church deeded over that ground with the other ball diamond to Morgantown Athletic Association, which is separate from, it's not us.
Okay, I'm mistaken, because the last time we did come to you to get permission to do that, and I thought we were granted by the board.
I think there was an issue with a tree that had fallen on a building, and the MAA asked that the township be informed. So, yeah.
We don't have a problem with you going through if you gotta go that way. Coming late in the year like this, the ground's probably getting softer, so if they can't go in between the dugouts, after giving permission from them, I mean, you're more than welcome to come in behind the stage on the blacktop. We have a stone road behind the stage that takes you straight to that same area.
Okay, so we'll contact them then.
Do you need her info? Do you want me to send it to you?
Would you please? Great, thank you.
Auditor for 2022 records, looks like she's working on that, and we'll have an update at December 14th meeting. PRD application. Looks like we were granted commencement on January 10th. Any questions?
We granted an extension.
Yep.
So now you want me to go ahead and advertise for a hearing on January 10th,
I would say yes, if everyone's good with the 10th, but we can agree on that before.
7 p.m. start time?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, works. Do you want to have it downstairs? Expect a large attendance.
I think we do it here and
We can all come down if we have
move
to.
down if you have to.
Morgan Commons escrow release request. So we discussed this at the last meeting. Scott forgot to send this over for the packet. And they're asking for escrow release number 2, the $106,645.29. And that'll leave a remaining of $51,297, which is the 10% required from the team.
I make a motion to release the $106,645.29.
Second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
What, number 7 on this, where it says the prior to final release, the amount of $9,700 will need to be posted. Did you read that?
maintenance period.
So they have to repost that, is that what that reads?
Oh, that's what it's reading.
Yeah, that'll be prior to the final release, so this is an
Right,
interim
51,000.
release.
Okay.
So you're keeping 51 grand. Once they get down to requesting the final release, they'll have to post 9,700 bucks for 18 months to ensure that the widening of Third and South are good for 18 months.
Okay.
Apartments on Main Financial Security Agreement.
Yeah, you approved one last year, but they wanted to change the form of security to a performance bond. So now you're approving a slightly different version of the security agreement, just to reflect that this is gonna be a performance bond instead of a letter of credit. Everything else in the agreement stayed the same.
Now, which one's this? This is the one across from your server?
Yes, you want to be reaffirmed.
The one that Steve Granson he sold.
The changes on page 5, in paragraph 2A, where it says bond, what you approved last year said letter of credit. Very small change.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's jump back to Morgan Commons escrow. We had a motion and a second. Did we get all in favor?
I don't think we did.
Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Tax sheets, special levies. So no additional fees will be required to add on the tax bill.
Well, we already have the tax now, and the money's going into our general fund.
It's incorporated into.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
so-
no more taxes. It's just that-
Right, we're gonna separate it out, so everyone knows that is for the fire tax.
I just, at the last meeting, we talked about if we put that on the tax form, people might not wanna donate to the police department.
Right, so that's where we need to decide if it's something we wanna do, or leave it the way it is. Yes, cause you're right, the first thing they're gonna say is, why should I have to pay this? I already donated my taxes, and then,
I myself think you ought to keep it the way it is then.
It's a valid point, but as far as,
But on the tax form, we ought to, on our sheet, treasury report, it ought to be listed as that. So we know how much is being collected. Don't have to be on the actual tax
right,
notice, right?
but we have
I
that
think,
breakdown
I think we
now.
keep it on there, because if the fire company's gonna ask for more money, and I don't know how donations go with the fire company, at least if we have to raise money for the fire company, it'll show that. You follow what I'm
it's a
saying?
valid point.
So,
I don't think it's a bad idea, I'm sorry. I don't think it's a bad idea to have it so that we know that if the fire company comes to us, and it's kind of what he was saying, and say, we need $200,000 from you, and at the time we're collecting, we're only collecting 150,000. So we can go back to the general public and say, hey, we gotta increase your fire tax 1.5%, or whatever, 1%, because they need more money, and that takes it off of us, and puts it back on the fire department.
it does anyway, because we have everything broken out, correct? I mean, we know what the percentages are that we were collected, don't we? So what goes from the street fund, which is on there, I think, but, I mean, the street light, but we know what we were collecting and what portion was for the fire company. We would just need an internal grid here for us, to say this is
I
how we're.
understand where you're coming from, I mean, cause they've been asking, they made a mistake and ordered an expensive ladder truck. Okay, so whatever.
But the way it's currently set up though, kinda like what he's saying, if we say, hey, we need to raise that, currently it doesn't show it's going to the fire company, they're thinking we're raising taxes, but in
Right.
reality, we're raising the
Fire
fire tax.
company, right,
So I
For that
think it
specific
should be-
reason. And it takes it off of us and puts it onto the fire department because they're the ones that need that extra
So,
money.
and basically, all we're doing is just adding it into the tax report, but not raising any taxes.
Right,
Correct.
correct, we're
Yes.
not touching it.
It's currently there, it's just not labeled as that.
It used
because
to be labeled.
It
We used
was.
to have a lot
It
labeled,
used
but,
to be, but then we did away
went
with that and
through
put it
the
all into the
system
general
and-
fund.
yeah.
So it's not broken down that way.
It used to be 0.30 mil, so you would have to, the board, if you wanna bring that back.
Legally,
The county.
once it's accounted for on your tax bill legally, it becomes restricted. So it takes away your discretion to use those funds in any other way.
And that's
But-
pretty
but
much
we
what we
don't.
want.
We
But we don't anyway, right? It goes
Right,
to the
that's
fire
what we
company.
want.
It go, everything we collect goes directly to the fire company, so.
Yeah, cause that, I want to support.
Because we
fire
just kept the same one that was on there, and that's what we collected, and that's what we made sure we gave them.
I just
Unless
So we
it's
can
an
list that
increase.
back as a fire tax, like, more or less, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we had it as a vanity tax, if you will, is that what it was
Yeah.
called?
I get, yes.
Someone was calling it vanity tax.
So, I mean, that way, if the fire, like you said, if the fire department messes up somewhere and needs more money, it's gotta come back on the citizens, unfortunately.
And it won't till we adjust it at
Exactly.
year end.
Yeah, but I mean, they send mailings out, I mean, how many people just throw them things right in the trash, you know what I mean?
I just know too much.
There's no rhyme to reason to the responses to those letters.
So I mean, I think this way, it kind of shows that everybody's paying their
Yeah.
share.
But we're back to your dad's point that even more people are not gonna send in because they see it, so how many people do send in on those, that would be nice to know, to make sure we're not jeopardizing, but.
Well, we're also
There's no
not the
way to
only
know it.
municipality that supports the fire company too, so
Right,
there's, you
yeah.
know, you have 6
True,
municipalities,
true,
right?
yeah, they get those
Right.
from others.
So, I mean, I think
Okay.
that we just kind
So
of,
what do you guys wanna do?
I'll make the motion.
Make a motion to put the tax back
Back
on,
in place.
break it out,
break it out.
okay. Now, yes,
I really think that if you do that, the people are just gonna say, I already paid my fire thing, I can just throw that in the trash.
But
And that
it's,
was-
you know, the sad part is though, is that we've already had it that way listed for how many years? What was it, a dozen, 12 years maybe?
Yeah, we made that a long time.
And it was only up till maybe 3 years ago that we actually kind of just took the label away from it and just put it into the general fund, so it's been that way.
So have they seen an increase in the responses of the letters in those 3 years that you didn't do that, I wonder?
we don't know.
There's no way of knowing that.
They
Yeah,
should
I
know.
I know,
Who
personal experience is you can stand on this street with a boot on a Sunday morning,
collect
and
more?
one Sunday morning you can collect $1,000, and the next Sunday morning you can't get 200. So
It's the
when I
same
say
with writing
there's,
the checks.
there's no rhyme or reason when or what kind of donation you will receive.
I'll support what you just said, cause I've seen it too.
Well, I mean,
Just
you take
no
for
rhyme
instance
or
that
reason.
most people that are directly affected by a fire or accident don't have a problem, you know, donating money, okay?
Right.
Until it happens to you, these people, they need to see it on their tax bill that they are, you know what I mean?
I never donated to the ambulance until I actually needed them.
Right.
I didn't know, I always saw it on my tax bill and thought, hey, I paid for this.
And there are people out there, cause a lot of the fire company was built off of donations from people that had a fire, is that not correct, Keith?
Yeah, and you had multiple, you had a
Oh, I
fire
know.
tax and then there was a rescue tax, so there was 2 separate millages you were collecting. And one of those was also your contribution, some of what you were contributing to the EMS ambulance side.
Is that, maybe we should put that in there as well.
What, the rescue tax?
Is the rescue for the E EMS?
It was both. There was 2 separate millages, and I don't remember numbers, I just know there was 2 separate vanities, one was fire and the other one was a rescue EMS. And your contributions you were making to that department, or those departments were coming from, largely from that.
So that, they dealt directly with the EMS then, or that was specifically for the EMS?
Yes.
Not the rescue for the fire department, but for EMS purposes?
Right.
So how do we do that if we already balanced the budget? Like,
Well,
we're
it
putting in there
doesn't
what we
matter.
donated, and can you turn that into a millage that it shows it
how it shows up on their.
Well, they would back out the millage for the fire company and then just list it separate and lower the general.
Right,
So we end up
Yeah.
with the same,
it's the same amount.
the same
It's not-
amount.
Not
We're
changing
just
anything.
spreading it out
Because
and
we
calculating.
gave them $30,000, didn't we? No, we didn't.
Which is more than we've given in the past though, so that's
Right.
all I'm saying is that was, you said it was 0.33 millage for the fire company. Do we know what the millage is for the,
Well, we can calculate what the millage is by what we agreed to give them for next year, and then back that amount that we agreed, figure out what that millage is, back that out, and just list it separate.
Separately, yeah, if you're
Yeah.
not changing
We're not changing anything other than
amounts,
just spreading
Right,
it out and
right,
showing
right.
different.
Right,
I think the rescue was like .03, fire was higher than all the others.
But she
Well,
would
we don't
calculate
need
all
any
the
more.
checks we agreed for the new budget.
right,
I mean,
and
come
the
up
money's
with a millage.
still there.
Right,
It's
we're not changing
changing
anything, we're
anything.
just splitting it out.
Right.
It's just a matter of, do we feel it's gonna be beneficial to split it out with their
Does that lock you
donations?
in for future years then?
What's that?
Does it lock you into that same amount for future years?
Well, we keep it that way, we don't change it, cause
It
it never goes
fluctuates?
down, I
Okay, I
mean,
thought somebody said 30,000 was more than you paid before.
we gave them, we haven't increased the ambulance in, I don't even know how long.
yeah, I don't ever.
So we gave them a little extra this year because they were looking to buy a new ambulance.
So does that, if you're giving them extra this year and you put that into, you break that out into the tax, does that mean then every year?
No, the extra we gave them doesn't set what we were giving them on a standard, so what we'd have set aside for them.
Okay.
Yeah, we gave them.
We just gave them extra, we didn't change the millage, so they still get the same millage that we agreed on.
I think what I'll have to confirm though is the amount that you budgeted to give to fire and EMS, you probably would pull that out of the general budget, cause it's gonna be a totally separate account, so you'll have to approve your budget for your general fund, street light, fire, and EMS. So it will affect your general fund budget that was just advertised, you would pull those out.
It's not gonna change the total number.
You're talking about the revenue that would come in from real estate?
Correct. So my tax bill will not change, no matter how much you break it out for EMS or fire, it's not gonna change my amount.
Right,
It's
it's the
just
same
show me.
amount,
But what she's saying was we have to get approval, because now it's gonna be separate accounts.
okay.
It's not gonna be in our general fund anymore, so now we're changing the budget, so are you saying this is something we have to wait till next year? Get it set this year, start planning it out, and have it broken out for next year's?
I would just have to get confirmation, let's talk to the treasurer to
Well,
see.
it might have to
Okay.
be a restricted account because it is restricted funds.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with that. I don't
No.
think sales does, because it's going to them anyway.
It's where it should go, right?
But all I'm saying is that, like, there's a drastic increase that the fire company's looking for.
Did
We
get
can
it
turn
first?
around and say, hey,
Yeah,
we're not raising the
Okay, we need a
taxes.
motion to make them separate them on, okay.
Correct, I made the motion.
So,
I'll say.
we have a motion, a second, but we still need to confirm.
Well, cause you wouldn't pay them out of those special accounts plus whatever you budgeted, like 156 from
No,
your
but if you
general.
budgeted 156,000 to go to them, that's already there.
Yes,
So
she's
you
not,
take
she's
that
not
and set it
arguing that.
aside.
But all she's saying is that, so when we did away with the vanity taxes, we actually took those accounts, closed them out, and put them into the general fund.
Right,
Right,
So now what she's doing now,
We have to
she's saying you're
split it
gonna
out.
have to start an account for
okay,
that.
and we already
okay.
approved
You
the
know what I mean?
budget,
And then put that,
so she's gonna check. But,
Okay.
I mean, do you wanna make the motion now, pending her
That's
information? or
fine,
do you
pending
wanna-
approval, or pending that it can be done.
Okay,
and I think to add to his, I think we should add EMS on top of fire.
I agree.
okay, so for the fire and the EMS, check and see what we can do, but we have a motion and a second to move forward if this will work, if she says this will work out, we can do this without causing a hassle changing the budget that we already issued. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Aye. Park and Rec request list. Okay, so Park and Rec does not want the freestanding bleachers, and they wanna see about donating them to the soccer club.
Our thought was that we would wanna fix the bleachers that we have over there now. Even if it means taking off the top layer block and replacing the block, and it worked in the past, so we were hoping to keep that style of bleachers there. But
I
I
thought
wondered
that-
if maybe the soccer team, we didn't know if you guys wanted that or not.
Well, how bad are the seats, how bad is that concrete and how old is it and?
It's bad.
It's bad.
Concrete is bad.
So the reason they got these bleachers was because they want those removed.
I got them for free, so I mean, the thing of it is, if we don't want them, we can always scrap them, they're limited. I mean,
But we still have to redo all the,
Before we give away, well,
Right.
the free ones, I believe we inquire with a cement contractor or somebody else
right,
about
how much
doing
that costs us
something
to
different.
repair if you wanna keep it the same.
There is, and then put an actual cost to repairing them. There's several issues with the existing ones that needs to be addressed, and I think we need to kinda just put a general cost to that and see which way
Cause
Parks
it's not
and
a matter
Recs
of
and.
just repairing what's there, it'll need an overhaul.
and I
I've
think-
tried
I
as
think
much
a lot
as-
of this has to do with what's going on with the organization, okay, cause I've heard too many times now that MAAs with Twin Valley, with possible Babe Ruth League. So I'm waiting to hear on what that is, because if the school's gonna come in and try to take over them fields, then I think maybe some of them expenses can be pushed off onto them as well, so.
My comment or my thought is Parks and Recs is suggesting they would like to keep the existing ones. I think we put a dollar figure to making them safe. And I don't wanna use up the code, but to make sure, what kind of money is it gonna take to rehab them?
Right.
And if that's
Makes sense.
absorbent, then we may have to think about demolishing them and putting the free ones in. We got a couple months to get those kind of numbers together.
Those free ones aren't very high, so.
Well, that's a good thing, because now I don't have to have backstops on them, I don't have to have sides on them, because, well, you know, once you get to a certain height, then we got all the safety stuff to add. I've tried to do things to secure those over there, but there's just several things. The concrete stands, I can't anchor to, I can't get long enough screws to bite in. The vertical backs of them need something there so the kids can't fall off and out through the back. So there's just, like I say, there's several aspects of them that need to be addressed to make them safe, if you wanna keep them.
Alright, need a quote to resurface the basketball court, not coating it. Yes, you wanna get a quote, or where do you stand with that?
This South Street,
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It is bad.
I mean, I'm not entertaining.
So they would have to dig it up and redo it?
Yeah, it doesn't,
So it's
Just
not
put
just-
another coat on.
Yeah, it's not just another coat, you gotta replace the whole thing.
You're at least gonna have to mill out the cracks. We tried to recoat it at this point, it's 10 years ago, and the cracks opened up underneath what we were doing, and that contractor sort of skipped out on us. We couldn't go back even after we tried. I don't have a particular contact for that.
Is it concrete or is it blacktop?
I'm believing it's asphalt.
it looks it.
My comment to Parks, I can get the surface marking or the surface done, but this would be the opportune time for you to decide whether you wanted to paint, put pickleball nets up, or any changes while we were opening that up and
Okay.
changing it.
Okay.
That would just be a conversation for you, if, I mean,
We've
pickleball
talked about
nets.
that for a while, I mean, we should probably
now would be the
incorporate that
time
into
to-
that.
Yeah, it's, I mean, we had some thoughts about the pickleball, I mean, there's a beautiful site up in Reading where they've got 10 courts, so we're looking into something there.
I know it's very popular, I'm just saying that if we're resurfacing and digging up in there, that would be the time to put standards in to mount those nets or put those
Okay.
nets in.
Okay,
Okay, so you'll work on that.
we'll work on that.
Okay, the quote from Laurel Hill Construction was difficult to follow. It appears to be for the bathroom at the ball field, but we are sure, as it states, roof and door as well.
Yeah, so was it a whole refurb of that over there?
No.
It needs a roof and a door, cause I
No, the roof was done. The roof was put on that
Okay.
bathroom over there. The doors all need to be replaced, cause there's no rain spout, so they're rotting out of the cinder block wall.
So how much of that quote do we need for all of that?
Well, that's 2 years old at this point. The stuff for the dugout, the fascia and the soffits and that sort of thing on the first base dugout was part of that too. And it was under $2,000 if I recall, I wanna say 1,700. That was a new tin roof on the first base dugout and fixing that up.
So what were we supposed to look at? There, the only instructions I think were that evaluate the quote. But again, we weren't sure exactly what we were looking at it, cause it seemed like it covered multiple
It
things.
did, it was, we started with the roof that was leaking and we fixed it. And then the doors that are, the wood is rotting off the doors are abused and falling apart, they needed to be replaced. And then there was the soffit, there was the siding that had baseball shirt on it, that were on the side of those restrooms. So it was not as much, it was more that we got pricing for it. So it's what you wanted to prioritize and where you wanted to head.
So did we decide whether we have to keep that bathroom or whether we can go with outhouses? Or, I mean, porta pots, sorry.
Those bathrooms were built with federal grant money.
So we absolutely have to keep them. So when the federal grant money, so we have to maintain them for life, we have to keep them for life and maintain them for life.
You'd have to have some, I don't know.
We have to investigate.
You'd have to do some
stipulations, but
research on that.
usually that's the case.
Right.
That's why we're careful about what grants we take.
Yeah.
I'm sure that grant money's getting pretty old, and I'm sure that those grant police are really not looking too hard.
Well.
They have
these
reached
are
out to
recorded,
us.
We can't say that.
They have reached out.
They have reached out. They have reached out.
Cause somebody called.
So that quote, it wasn't as much, like I said, it wasn't as much as it's current, it was that this stuff was all broken out at a period
So
of
if you're
a year or two ago.
But if you're saying that we have to fix it, then I'm not sure what we're evaluating. If you're saying that we don't have a choice and it has to be repaired, then it has to be repaired.
Over a period of time, I would agree you would wanna fix some of that stuff up.
Okay, so what's in question? Whether we're gonna replace the door or?
I don't know. I don't think there is a question, is there?
Did Parker, did you guys hand in a budget for this year?
Twice.
Okay, so we have all those figures, okay. But it did include stuff like this.
I think we even put in there, if this is, if we have to repair it, then
Okay.
it has to be in the budget.
Okay,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
all right, and then we got a request for donations. The stuff in red, that's Lori already responded, okay. She's asking what size lights, color, white, you can respond to that then. She responded,
Okay, I'll
okay.
send her over. I have to go down and look and see what it's a certain brand that we use.
Okay, can we have an update on the surveillance system of Friendship Park?
They reached out to me, it'll be almost 2 weeks ago that they intended to start, but they hadn't reached back out after that. I gave them Mr. Hornberger's phone number since I was on vacation that week. To the best of my knowledge, they haven't reached back out.
What's the holdup?
Was getting equipment. It was getting equipment. I found it odd that the salesman that Joan and I had worked with so many times didn't reach out. I got a call from somebody else that says, hey, the equipment's here, I wanna start putting it up on Monday. And wait a minute, I'm on vacation, there was no pre-warning, no nothing. We'll reach out to Pete, he's here next week, and Pete's on vacation this week, but I haven't heard anything, and I haven't had time to
Well, I know
reach.
one of the concerns is they're putting up the letters for Santa, and I think they wanna set it up over there, but they don't want it to get vandalized, so that's why, I know we paid them, did we pay the money for these cameras?
Deposit.
Who was in there today working?
Baldwin was in there today running the power from the stage to the left field post that will power the system.
That's what I was talking about this morning.
I stopped after we were together.
Yeah, that part I was able to get done, but I haven't heard back from Vector. Any more from Vector. And neither had Joan as of yesterday, so.
Is that the grill still out in the hallway?
Yeah, they're gonna be picking it up.
Are they gonna do it in the meeting?
No, I guess, Cole called and discussed with the gentleman, just come pick it up.
Sounds like coordination with the right vehicle is the issue, so that they have a vehicle available next Friday. Noon?
Well, we picked it up, we can deliver it if you want it out of here.
I don't care that it's there, I just wanna make sure that they were aware,
Somebody gets
they
it,
got it,
yeah.
and they got, you know, they get it whenever they want.
Well, can we call them back and let them know, maybe come to the regular meeting so we can at least present it to them? And then can we drop it at their house?
It's in Penwood, it's not out of the way by any
Okay.
I
stretch.
mean, our meeting's
Tomorrow,
really right
can
next
you
to
have,
Penwood.
I think Lori might have been in discussion with it, have her call them.
But don't you guys agree that we present it at a meeting, they get some pictures of it and stuff to
It's
show
fine.
that?
You don't have to.
Ask them if they wanna come to the next meeting.
Parks and Rec meeting?
Or even if they did the tree lighting.
Well, I mean, you wanna take away from Christmas with Halloween?
Yeah, it's getting a little late there. What do you wanna do?
Probably
You know, just
before your
call
next
them,
meeting.
deliver
I
it
was
to
just
them,
trying to,
or
I was trying to
I know
make
we-
something cool here, I mean, if they don't wanna pick it up at a meeting, that's fine, that's what they wanna do.
If, it's Parks and Rec, you only what, it's coming Monday.
Want to do it at the Parks and Rec meeting, or you wanna do it at the park?
We can see if they're
It
available.
does,
You're gonna get more publicity with recording
Right.
on, out of public meetings, but
Let the Parks and Rec present it, Tom.
Do we have a photo of their house?
Wednesday.
I meant with.
Could we get a
one of our
printed
meetings.
photo of
Yeah.
their house and,
we can put it up on the screen.
yeah, put it up on the screen and then just.
Yeah,
let them
I
know
put
that,
the
you
one
know.
on Facebook.
What are we finding out with that, are they fixing it?
It's pretty much whenever they're coming through the area, it's gonna cost Service Electric to have it fixed.
Okay. What do we wanna do?
I just wanna get a projector like our treasurer loaned us that night. She said it's about $150.
I like the idea of having them come to our meeting and have Park and Rec.
Okay.
Then-
Present it,
If
I
they
think
can.
that's a great idea.
So your December 14th meeting?
You okay with that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wanna see if
that's
they can make it to December 14th, just tell them we'd like to present it to them.
And we can make.
We won't have the
arrangements.
grill here, so they can take it if they want it, but we can drop it off.
Yeah, wait, why don't you do that?
We'll just,
I mean, do
we'll
we
just
have,
have a picture of, or present them with a picture, maybe.
yeah, we
Can
can
we
do that.
get a picture and frame and just present them, you know?
But if they just wanna pick it up on Friday, let them pick it up on Friday, and we'll just get a picture and just at least acknowledge them, you wanna do that?
You get a picture of them with the grill, you can at least put it on your website, on your Facebook page.
Yeah,
I think we
there
do
you
that.
go.
A picture of the winners and a picture of their house.
Yeah, and we'll post it on the website and
Yeah.
that's good enough, and they don't have to come to a meeting.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
So you still want us to keep their pickup time for next, it's a week from this Friday?
That's fine.
And then you want us to get a picture?
Yeah, if you can get a picture,
Okay.
and
And
then
then we'll
post
just
it.
acknowledge the pictures at the meeting.
Okay. All right, so that brings us to lattice, or, let's see, stage lattice.
Alright, so I guess I would like to make a comment. We had talked about bird netting above, underneath the stage. We were looking for bird netting. We were looking for a way to hold it up there, and I thought black lattice against the ceiling under the stage wouldn't be as visible from the audience, and it would help hold up the netting and finished look. I'm just reading here that they want that color everywhere, and I'm not quite sure why you would wanna put black lattice around the outside of the stage.
Yeah, I don't know if we knew that that was gonna be black lattice. we had thought to match whatever was above to below, but if it's black, I would think. you
Well, I was
probably-
hoping to get a dark color and put the
Right.
letting up and then use the lattice to help hold the fish net, bird
And I
netting
think
up.
eventually we wanna do away with that lattice and do more like tongue and groove board along there, once we get money for that across the front of the stage to dress it up a little
Right,
bit.
so we don't need to match it then.
So I mean, I wouldn't really worry about matching it.
Okay,
Well,
That
and
that
it
makes
did,
sense.
at this point, I don't know whether there was any forward momentum with
No, we
putting
really
that up.
haven't, I mean, it's winter time coming up, I mean, I think come springtime, we probably look into that before the birds start making their nests.
Well, so that's, it's just a conversation, that's what I was thinking, was trying to find a dark colored lattice that I could put up against the ceiling, you wouldn't see it, it'd hold the fishnet stuff up. So I didn't think I wanted that around the outside.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Permission to host a food festival September 24th, hours 11 to 7 at Carnival Grounds. Would like to hire 2 bands for the day's event at approximately $3,500. There would be no charge for food trucks to participate. We would require them to have appropriate insurance and any other documents you require. Okay, let's see.
You asked about revenue at this point. I mean, we would certainly, before the event, try to go around and see what we could get for donations,
Okay,
but we have no idea, whether there would, be participation or not.
Well, when you guys put in for your budget, did you put like $3,500 in for it like that?
Mhm.
Okay. Did we put that in our budget?
We
If
upped
not-
several line items.
okay. If not, we have the money from the 250th anniversary, stuff like that.
No, I mean, we are supportive. I mean, I know we were in a place where we didn't have a lot of money extra, not that we have a lot of money now, but we want you guys to do stuff like this, so I mean, I think we're okay with that.
I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
So the only paperwork we would need from them would be the insurance forms? Is that right? The insurance,
For the event.
documentation?
I mean,
They're
whatever
not
food
really
trucks.
vendors, you're not charging them.
Well, if they're gonna be doing something like on the property, I still think they should have a proof of
Yeah.
insurance
Their
like we do
certificate
with
of
Carnival.
insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not really charging them I mean, we're not charging them a rental spot,
Right.
that
We
we're not
weren't
doing.
going to, because we didn't know how successful this would be, and if it
I mean,
turns
just
out to be
start now.
successful, then maybe another year we charge something, but for now, we thought no.
Right,
So-
I
It's only
just think
one
we
day.
do proof of insurance like we
Yeah.
have before, just in case someone, you know, gets sick or
Yeah.
whatever, and make sure they're legit.
I don't think there would be anything else, right?
No,
No.
And then your bands. I mean,
We need same thing, insurance,
insurance, and I would probably want a contract since you're paying them.
okay? Makes
Right.
sense, yep, same thing as we have for the carnival,
Yeah, I would think so.
okay,
Don't leave you high and dry and.
Yep.
Anything else you can think of that they might need? It should be pretty simple, it's just bands and food truck.
Yeah.
Okay. MAA notified us signage, well, I think we're holding off on all that, right? Till we figure
did
out.
they take any of it down? I mean, other stuff.
I haven't been over there recently, last year when we had done, this goes all the way from September of last year. When we had done our audit, there was they just were using the area behind where the restrooms are for storage, and they had stuff leaning up against, they didn't put it away, like put it inside so it didn't look ratty.
Yeah,
Well,
it was,
the
the
organization
organization
is-
was just a mess.
It was a
Right.
mess.
Well, the organization is definitely, disheveled, disheveled, I don't know how else to put it. And I know they're in transition and I can't get answers, I was supposed to have a meeting several months ago with them, they were talking about the school and MAA, and it seemed like MAA might have been stepping down and Twin Valley taking over, but I'm told that they're still working on that, so, I mean, I'll follow up with it, but
Have they come to you for an agreement for next year?
no, we're the
We
ones
don't have
pushing
one
the
with them for
agreement.
this year.
But as far as I'm
There
concerned,
wasn't one with them for this year.
For 2022?
That was never, I don't believe that was ever
It
finalized.
expired, I think, in May.
It expired in May of 2022, so they were here and using the
but
facilities.
that
this
was
year.
close to the end of their season, so we just kinda figured if they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're not gonna have anything over there until we get this contract finalized. So, I mean, you guys are all in agreement on that, correct?
Yeah.
So,
I believe that invite should just come from Joan again at this point, that they need to meet with.
you know what's going on, I mean, you've heard it too.
And
from-
I've
from
tried,
different people.
I've talked
Um,
independently.
Ryan Rhodes, I mean, Jay Oliver, I mean, I've talked to all these, you know, even the last time that Kim was here, she's like, hold off till they talk, you know, so I was waiting. They told me they were gonna include me in a meeting and I haven't heard
I
anything.
think all of the people you just mentioned should be invited to your workshop meeting in January, because you're gonna have to hash this out, or reach out to you and I at least and meet
I think they need
independently.
to hash it out and come to us and decide what they decided upon.
The stuff that Parks and Recs has on this list, I don't have a problem with, I just don't know who to discuss it with.
I agree with
Because
you.
there's nobody there, so
But
once
I mean, I
we
think for the
figure
time
out.
being, we go to Kim, because Kim has been responsible for this in the past, so if this is stuff that wasn't done per their contract,
Mhm.
Kim needs to take care of this.
Well, I would agree, I just, like I say, there's stuff here, but who do you talk to?
Yeah, I mean, Kim would still be the go-to
I
person
mean,
right
we
now
had,
until we hear different.
the township addressed the swale at the batting cages, and I even presented Ryan with a plan of what I thought we could do to actually build batting cages, bullpens, and that sort of thing. And I was looking for him to break it out into individual pieces of that project so that we could maybe solicit donations from contractors or parents to do some of it. But it's not.
So I gotta be honest with you, you didn't grade the field, okay? They had Berg come in, donated their time to grade the field, and they graded it, that everything dumped into the carnival grounds. And then we got caught fixing it, okay, which isn't right. You did your due diligence to try to take care of that, and I appreciate that, especially before the carnival. But now, you know, something has to be more permanent there.
Well,
And I think that needs to go back on them, because they're the ones that originally graded it like that.
like I said, there's a whole bunch of items here. I just don't quite know who to harass it with because we don't have anybody with an agreement for
Okay,
2022.
so what do we wanna do, invite them to a meeting again, or where do you wanna start with?
I'll tell you what, I'll reach out to Jay, you reach out to Ryan, and let's see if they can attend. Maybe they can get their act together before our next workshop,
January.
January.
Well, see, you're already into January of 2023, and it isn't far from the March, April when they're
That's
look-
fine.
Alright.
looking to be tossing a ball, and
So you guys wanna reach out, or do you want Joan to send an email?
I think you should just send it to all three of them, to Kim, have Joan send it to Kim, Ryan,
Have it
and
send it that, and
Jay.
yeah, they just have Kim do it, because Kim's the one that's in charge of the organization. Tell her to get a hold of the proper people from Twin Valley, and we need to resolve this so we can get a contract signed for next year.
Basically like that.
There's
No,
no
we need to
ball.
You want.
They have,
No,
They
send
have
it
their
to
own
Kim,
field.
send it to MAA, and
have
say
it-
not
that
like
you
they
need to,
can't
you need to
play.
get your shit together. You need to get your, your act together for the most part, your organization, and come before us in January so we can finalize a contract for next year.
You say the workshop or?
I would say the workshop, because we have more time to do stuff, because our agendas are so busy during the regular meetings.
Okay, so that takes us into slow pitch. I mean,
Yeah, I guess maybe we'll wait to see who,
okay,
where the organization
Okay,
is going,
that's
but
fine.
if it's organized like it had been, then we would like to understand what do we need to do to be able to have a league of our own. And if
And
we
it may-
have a
it
league
may
of
get
our
to that
own,
point, because you
maybe
know what?
we take charge of scheduling the fields. So that's why we needed to understand what's involved in.
MAA had what, 2 teams last year?
it wasn't many.
I heard it was 1 or 2 teams. So, seriously?
Okay, well, let's see what kind of response we get, and we'll move on from there. Did you have something else to add?
I'm just thinking that with what Terry's saying about having their own team, I believe you could formally figure out what it takes to form a league, and
I need to know what legally we need. Do we need insurance? Do we need, can we do a league on our own? Can we get shirts? Can we, if that's what someone decides, what do we need to do? That's where we needed to, from
I
a
mean,
legal
are you
standpoint.
talking about like a township team, or just you yourself that wanna?
Park and Rec.
Park and Rec forming a slow pitch league. Again, we don't know what's happening with MAA. But if something happens there and we would like to do it ourselves, what do we need to do from a legal standpoint?
Well, in all honesty, Terry, if you wanted to start a league, we own the field. We didn't write a contract for next year. We could always write that in there that you wanna do that, you're gonna have to work with, they're gonna have to work with you on a schedule. I mean, we could do that, couldn't we?
So, and legally, we just get a rider?
We'd have to set
Well,
up,
legally,
are you
yeah.
gonna collect fees, how are you gonna get this, you know what I mean?
That's what I wanna know, can we collect fees, can we, and insurance and all that, we can do all of that?
Yep, you
Yep.
have to work through the township's carrier.
Okay.
Fees would need to be approved by the board of supervisors.
Yep.
Appropriate waivers through the application process would be,
Okay,
would be done.
So basically, when you go to sign your kids up, we need to do everything that our kids had to do when we signed them up.
Right.
We have to follow.
Okay.
Yeah, but you talking like an adult slow pitch league?
yeah. Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
still, we still
that's what I
need-
mean, like, I can't answer that until hopefully these guys show up to this meeting, because honestly, I mean, the fields are going to waste, they really are. And I mean, every year we gotta constantly nag them about mowing the grass and weed eating and taking care of their fences. And, you know, they don't take care of the property like they're supposed to over there with trash and hoses. I mean, the refrigerator over there was nasty, did you see that?
I didn't go in.
Okay, but they didn't clean it out, and they shut the refrigerator off, and it was nasty. I mean, that's on them,
I have a
but
picture.
those are our buildings.
Okay, well, Joan, if you can get that out, and then we'll set it up for the January, yes.
And then I have one more thing that's not on here. We were approached for our Christmas tree lighting. A local resident has asked if they would be allowed to come to the event and, play the Christmas music. And if so, do I need anything? Do we need insurance? Do they need anything? It's just a
If
local
they're just
person.
playing music and we're not
I
hiring
mean, I
them,
wouldn't
I
worry
mean,
about it.
I don't.
You know,
need
Santa's
anything.
already lined up, you know all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He had asked me if we had a budget that they could go out, maybe like the dollar store and get trinkets for like boys and girls, maybe wrap that he could give a present out, instead of maybe a candy cane.
Is there a
I don't know,
budget?
maybe just something
And
like,
how do we know how many?
well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if not, we can always just keep it off to the side, just a universal boy-girl toy or something like that, that he can kinda hand out. It was just a suggestion.
Yeah.
If you just wanna do candy canes, we can do candy canes.
How much do we have approved for?
Might be able to just go to the dollar store and pick up something cheesy.
We can probably do something. We have, we have the budget and you guys had approved the budget, so. Depending on what we get for lights and stuff, and what we get donated for, if we get the cider and the coffee and all
I know somebody has coffee.
that. Do you?
Anyone else? Anything else on this subject? Did you have any questions?
What Lori wanted to know is, should we, the township, pick up the donations that,
So how do you want to coordinate the donations? Someone want to
If
pick?
somebody lets me know where they are, I'd be happy to go pick them up.
Okay,
As
Strickler,
long as it's not a grill, I can't pick up a grill.
Strickler signs contract. $24,736.
they want some deposit up front, and there's 50%. 12,368 and 44 cents, and then
And this is the one we pretty much agreed on last time we spoke, the size, the,
And this one's color and everything, right?
yep.
and
I
there's
thought we
a contract.
decided to go with the 3-foot one, right?
It's 3x5, right?
No, this is 29 inches.
That's not the same size as
It's
yours.
not the size
Well,
we
they
said.
better-
No?
They can only go this way, just a little bit bigger.
So they can't put a 3-foot in there?
They can't go,
Wider than the pillars.
Right.
Well, it looks like they're 5'3", so we're getting just 3 inches.
No, we're getting, we're 6 inches. We said 3 foot before. You're saying 29. No, if they can't, if it don't fit, it don't fit.
Right. You have to go with what they can fit
The one we
in.
picked was the 3x5.
Was-
I'll make a motion for the $12,368.44.
Motion,
Second?
second, all those in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
But make sure they put the biggest one they can get in there. So that's,
I agree.
Is the co-stars a proposal?
Yeah, we had 3 quotes.
Well, it's at 24,000 is above the bidding threshold, but it's a co-star's proposal, so
We had 3 quotes though last meeting.
it doesn't matter.
I thought you had to bid it out at 3 quotes though, right? And we went with the, was it the lowest?
It's at 24, you're above the requirement for 3 quotes even, but it's co-star, so it all,
It doesn't matter.
So just make sure the minutes reflect that this is a co-star's estimate that we approved. So we're good.
Okay, Carnival Entertainment contract.
I reached out to my band promoter on, trying to lock in some entertainment for the carnival, and, the first one I come across, so I'm handing it off. The cost of the band is $4,500. They require a deposit of $2,250 by December 19th. I would need a motion for that, take that out of the carnival.
motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
You know, can you make that and send that and just give me a copy of that?
Yeah, and then there's
I
a
can sign,
deposit,
I can sign that if you want.
and then the deposit, we can put that on the December 14th.
It's gotta be there by the 19th. Will it be there by the 19th?
Or you want us to mail it?
19th of
December.
December.
Yeah, it'd be 4 days.
Yeah.
There's no way that's gonna make it 4 days.
Well, it's Broomall, Newtown Square. In May. I can let them know it's on its way.
Okay.
That's fine, we'll do it that way. Do you want me to sign that? Do you have one printed that I can sign? Okay.
Draft ordinance regulating streets, sidewalks, obstructions. So Keith, you went through this,
I didn't review it once you've made the changes yet, no, I've not.
so then this is just for our review, we'll discuss it next time.
And the next step in this one would be, the second part of that addresses trees and obstructions. Trees, there was some tree wordage in the second half of that one from Dover Township.
That's in here, or it didn't make it in?
That was in the second part of this. And I think the board could just review that. Like I say, it's not that I wanna police everybody's tree, but if your sidewalk the sidewalk goes down the street and your bushes are growing out, we have something in writing that says they gotta trim them to provide free and clear movement.
Okay. Is that in this one? No, can we?
This is section 1.
Yeah.
And then what you're saying, section 2 would be incorporated into this
I'm
one?
asking them to review section 2, just to see what parts of that the board themselves, the board likes.
Well, I would think, I'd wanna see what you need picked out, cause you're the one out there doing the job and know what needs to be, and what we don't know, we don't come across it.
Well, then I will go through the second half.
Yeah, if you can do that, and then incorporate it in and just present it.
I will review it and I will.
Chief, if you
I
see
mean, just-
anything,
Redline it, highlight it,
Yep.
what you want, what you wanna strike,
and then we can put it in there, and then we'll read as a whole and make sure it's gonna work.
and then we'll tell you that we don't like it and.
Start
do
from
it.
scratch.
Alright, you can work it out.
Draft village library agreement.
Consistent with your request last meeting, I gave you just a draft, the framework of what an agreement would look like, so you've got, I would direct your attention to, I think it's paragraph 6 and 7, which are really the two paragraphs that you would need to sit down with the library and detail out, which would be the maintenance and repair obligations to sort of apportion who's responsible for what, landscaping, maintenance.
Are we currently doing all the snow and ice removal there?
Yes.
Okay, so in here it has snow and ice removal, and then it has roofs, external walls, HVAC, plumbing, and electrical systems.
I didn't review it,
Okay,
it
so
came today.
once again, you can review what you do over there now,
Okay.
to make sure this is consistent.
I'd recommend that there be a working group, sit down with the library people between now and your next meeting, to make sure everybody's on the same page. What I put down for 6 and 7 is just boilerplate.
Right, but I will make sure Keith makes sure it's what we're doing now, and then move forward.
As long as what we're doing, yeah, we can tell you what we're doing now, and the board could review it. Maybe you just don't wanna do, we're shoveling sidewalks over there every time it snows and they don't go nowhere. We're clearing the snow, we're mowing grass, I mean, there's just quite a bit
Well, I
of
mean, when it comes to the building though, we've always taken care of major repairs though, correct?
painting, roofing.
But I mean, he has in here maintenance, I mean, maintenance should be, as far as I'm concerned, on them.
So you wanna be specific, like painting of walls, carpeting.
Yeah, obviously, if they wanna get their carpet cleaned or replaced, that should be on them.
I recall like smoke detectors coming up at one meeting.
That was on, yeah,
Well, that was an upgrade that they wanted, right, with the security system?
They want the security
It was
system.
both. It started out as an alarm system, both smoke and burglar, and then it moved to security, yes.
I mean, if they want, I feel the security should be on them.
And I agree with you to an extent. They created a separate room over there. Now they created it. A separate room for the kids. And that room, and I don't know if the door locks, but somebody couldn't get in. They could panic far out, but couldn't get in. The concern is about somebody coming, cause nobody from the library itself, from what I'm told, can see into that room, which is what they wanted the camera system for, from what I understand. And I think I was talking to Joan, and she was absolutely right. If they just locked that door, or had an adult have to be in there when there's kids in there, it would resolve that issue. But I also understand that the liability, or that there is a liability issue there, and I don't know what the camera system's going to cost, or whether they even got numbers on that. I seem to remember $4,000, but I can't swear to it. But that's something that concerns me. If that building is ours, do we have, and you may be able to answer this, do we have any responsibility for the safety of the occupants?
We can talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Could be. It's your building, it's your building.
Right, structure-wise, I would think yes, but when you rent something out to someone or lease it out to someone, it's their responsibility. I mean, we're not running their program.
No, if I rent a house and I wanna put cameras up, that's my responsibility,
Mhm, right.
I agree. If I rent a house and the heater goes, that's on the homeowners, which is what we do, we take care of that.
Right.
But I don't know,
But they're not per se renting it, are they?
Well, our lease agreement will be just like the soccer, they're gonna lease it for whatever amount, $1 or
But I mean,
whatever.
it's
just to make it
labeled
legal.
as Carnarvon Library, right, or Morgantown
No, it's
Library.
Morgantown Library, it's not.
So I mean,
us.
like,
Village library.
but they don't pay us rent on that, do they?
No.
Right, so, I mean, we're like a landlord for the most part.
We
so
are a
should-
landlord.
Yeah,
If somebody gets injured, it comes down to whether they get injured because of a dangerous condition
Right,
of your building. So it depends
because the
on
mortar's falling
situation.
out and they're
It will
tripping
be-
over the mortar. But yeah, I mean, I would think we maintain all the building, the roof, the heating system, stuff like a normal landlord would.
right.
But any upgrades to carpets and, if they want, they should maintain I have right in the lease that the tenants must maintain the smoke detectors. I have them there, but they must maintain them, but any security system's on them.
I'm not arguing.
But-
Well, and that should be like, okay, if you just have a battery operated and you don't change the battery, it's not our fault, you don't change the battery.
Right,
Right.
right, but you have to have it all in writing.
I mean, even as for the security cameras, I mean, I wouldn't mind giving them a donation for it, but I think if that's what they want, that they should pay for it.
Right.
If they have children in that room, they lock the door, someone's gonna have to watch it on camera anyway, so they should have some adult in that room.
Right, but that's on them again, that's how
Yeah,
they
that's
run
on
their
them.
facility. We're just,
Well, let's take a look at it. We'll take a look
Yeah,
at
I
it.
think there needs to be a working group to hash all
Okay.
that out.
Should we send them a copy that they have a chance to review this too
Oh,
before?
yeah. Oh, yeah. And then, just make
I
sure-
was thinking we wanted to refine it a little bit to make sure Keith has everything in that he's currently doing that works for us. Like we do the snow plowing and we put, what you sawed over there and,
Well, you only got it tonight, so why don't you get a chance to look
Yeah.
at it, and then we can bring that back up a regular meeting, right?
okay.
Now, is this enough where they can get that grant?
Now it
I
has to be
have no
Reason
signed,
for this,
Yeah, yeah.
or we don't wanna sign until we approve.
right, I agree with you. Have
Okay.
Keith look at it first, right?
Okay. All right, police department. You wanna take this? Or
Well, I met with the police liaisons this morning. Officer Christopher Dunlap was hired by the board of supervisors November the 9th of 2021 as a probationary police officer. His probation started on December the 5th of 2021. So we need to act to move him up to full-time permanent status.
So he's a keeper
He's a keeper.
tonight.
So I would like to ask for the board to make a motion to move to the next level and follow the next level for the police contract for salary.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Theoretically, his 1 year not up to December 5th.
Right, it'd
Correct,
be
this is-
effective at that point.
Yeah, be effective December 5th.
I said I was gonna vote no.
Maintenance department, township building heating unit repairs.
We had a no heat issue here in the township office on Monday. Guy Wells informed me that there's some components to the heating system that need to be replaced as part of just routine maintenance. They're 11 years old. I'm looking, he doesn't have a price. My current rate or approval is 2,000. I'm looking for 3,000 to, if they need.
Here?
Yeah.
Can we just get them scarred?
We did.
If he gets me a price and they're over the two, if they're less than the 3,000, I get permission just to move on with getting the repairs and the parts done.
Yes, there's no option. Motion,
I'll make the motion.
second, all those in favor? Aye.
Point of discussion, it's not on here, and I'm not looking for approval, it's a point of discussion, it's a workshop. The John Deere's 444J loader, 2004, 2005. The tire tread on them, and we use it for snow. The tires are probably at 40% or less of their life that's left in them. They're very expensive. I'm looking at 3,000 a piece for those tires to replace them. If my opinion is the loader's not leaving, we're keeping it for another 10 years. I'm making a suggestion that I can get an iron quote for you if you're interested. My suggestion would be to investigate getting real new tires, getting them replaced, and then putting the other ones up on Craigslist or on Municipal. I believe there would be a resale value. $3,000 tire. Somebody has one that don't hold air. Yours may not have a lot of tread, but it's better than a flat one. So you can resell them.
Or two for a spare?
I've thought about that, but I've never used them. I mean, since we had them taken off and powder coated, knock on wood, the flat tire issues have gone away. And we're at 5 years, 6 years on that. So
And they're not calcium filled, right?
they're not calcium filled.
They're changed for them.
I do have a set of chains, but it is a very unpleasant ride with chains on. You don't have a choice. But now that you're at the point in life, I don't want to wait 5 more years and put new tires on it and then get rid of the machine in 3 or 4. I'm feeling like at this point, if we're planning to keep it another 10 or 15, we might as well put the tires on and have new ones while we own it instead of right before we get rid of it.
I think it's quote.
Yeah, good quote.
I will put one together for your December meeting.